These are the best and the easiest 3 things that any woman can learn to do now to start getting paid from it tomorrow. Why are we waiting? These skills are what personally got me from a position of earning a standard $2,000 a month to eventually $5,000 a month and going upwards from there. So it's very, very profitable, and I think it's only going to get even more profitable as time goes on. As a girl in her 20s who has started and built her full-time income completely online, I'm going to tell you everything that I have learned that you can start doing now. Not only am I going to tell you what these skills are, how to do them, how to get into them, but I'm also going to emphasize how to do them correctly, because way too many people talk about side hustles and skills like this that can pay you, but nobody actually talks about how to do it right so it can actually pay you. So I'm going to go into everything in this video. Starting at number 1, my forte, which is in sales. Now, the first skill that I think will pay you the most, and I think is worth every woman knowing, is high ticket closing, or remote high ticket closing, remote closer. There is about 5 million buzzwords for this skill, but the simple fact of the matter is it is just sales and it is just closing deals. What actually is remote closing? Remote closing is simply closing deals on behalf of a company. That's it. Now, you would work on behalf of a content creator, a brand, a company, anybody that sells a specific service. For example, there may be a nutrition company that sells fitness and nutrition for diabetic people, and they sell that service at something like $5,000. Now, the reason why it's called a high ticket closing is simply because it's expensive, that's all. Anything could be high ticket. I don't really like that word to describe it, because literally a car is high ticket, right? The difference between remote closing that differentiates you closing something that is high ticket versus a car salesman closing a $20,000 car is that you would work remotely from home, you would manage your hours, and you would sell services. So you don't have to walk into a car dealership and sell an actual physical product. You would sell whatever service that company or that brand provides. What makes it great is that the people that you will be speaking to are people who are already familiar with that brand. They're already familiar with that company, and they might even be familiar with the service already. They are already interested. So all you need to do is jump on a call with these prospects that come through who are already interested in this service. You have a conversation with them anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. You close the deal, you take the payment, and you take 10% commission. So for example, that $5,000 fitness coaching offer that you sell and you close to a client on the call, they pay $5,000, you will take a 10% commission of $500. Now, as a result, it really does accumulate. So let's say you're speaking to 20 people over a week. That is 20 hours of your life, because you won't really be speaking to these people for any more than an hour. And let's say you're not the best at it, you're actually kind of stuck, and you close less than half the people that you speak to. That is what, maybe 8 people that you speak to, and you close all those 8 people on a $5,000 offer. You would then earn 500 times the 8 in commission, which is what? That's $4,000. My mental maths is not my forte. So that's how little people you need to speak to and close in order to actually make a substantial amount from it, which is why I think it's completely realistic for you to start earning $5,000 a month from it and upwards. You can actually start hitting 20, 30, 40,000 months doing remote closing. However, it is not an overnight thing. As a matter of fact, none of these are overnight things. Everything takes time. So to begin with, you might only be making a couple thousand, and as you continue, as you improve, as you scale, as you get better, you will obviously start making more money. And I genuinely think this is a nice way to do it. You don't really have to have your face out there if you're not one of those people that like to be online. You don't have to have your own brand to do it, for example. Not all of us want to have our face out there, so this is a really, really great way to do it. On to the next. Skill number 2 that I think is one of the best for women to get into to start making money online is also in remote sales, but a slightly different aspect, which is appointment setting. A sales development representative, you might have heard of them before, but the difference between your typical SDR and an appointment setter is, again, one of them's in an office earning a salary and you are earning off commission, so you control your hours, you control your money, and you control your income, and it's flexible. Now, appointment setting is really nice because if you're not a big speaker, then you don't have to speak. All you would do as an appointment setter is essentially, again, these same people that are coming in interested on a brand or a company's offer or service that they can provide to them, instead of jumping on a call with them, you would actually just be messaging them typically. To warm them up, obviously give them a little bit of information, but most importantly, get them booked in for a call for the closer that we talked about in number 1. Now, these appointment setters are great. It's easy because it's flexible. Everything can be done from your phone. You don't need to have any fancy tech to do this. You would keep in contact with them. You would get them booked in for a call. And once they do close, you would get a 5% commission for that. So in the example as before, you would be earning, for example, $250 for that close. If we use the same example, actually, let's say your appointment setting for the new closer who's closed 8 $5,000 deals, you as an appointment setter would earn exactly half of that, which is $2,000 for just messaging people. Now, it's really nice for us women that are really, really busy. So if you're a mother, for example, if you have a family, if you are on the younger side, but you're just juggling a lot, maybe you have a job and university and work and everything and all of the above, this is something that you can actually balance around everything that you normally do to have that extra source of income. Even the closing you can balance alongside what you do, but this one it takes a lot less time commitment than just the closing does. Great, so now you know how remote closing works. How do you actually get into it then? Well, there's lots of ways that you can get into it. One thing about sales in general, but specifically remote closing, I would say it is quite connection heavy. So you will not just go on Indeed, apply to a job and boom, I am a remote closer. It is something that a lot of people get via connections. People get into remote closing is through connections online. So I'm talking places like LinkedIn, Facebook, for example, Instagram. A lot of these people that are, for example, content creators selling their own service, they will be on Instagram by far. Through these online connections and online spaces are one of the best ways you can actually get access to the industry. And same goes for appointment setting through the same routes as remote closing. So online, Facebook, your LinkedIn, these places where people are connecting and networking all of the time and are involved in the online space and in that sort of freelance, self-employed, side hustle, main hustle kind of thing. That is where you're going to find people looking for appointment setters, looking for remote closers, and looking for skilled ones at that as well. Through this channel, I will also be talking about how to get into remote closing because that is what I do. That's my thing. Now, how do you actually learn the skills so you can do it properly and you can start earning properly as well? When it comes to remote closing and appointment setting, what's great about it is that it's sales. You don't need a degree to get into sales. It's not rocket science. You just need a voice, a mouth, and in the case of appointment setting, a set of fingers so you can type. Well, you don't even need that because we've got text to speech now, don't we? It is more about learning the fundamentals of sales, and you can learn that online. You can literally learn that from YouTube, from Google, understanding the fundamentals of sales. However, as with any skill, but especially with sales, you can't just read a book about sales and know how to sell. The best way to learn how to sell is to practice selling and to have somebody who knows what they're doing to co-sign and check and see that you actually know what you're doing. You actually know how to communicate with people. It's all good and well knowing objection handling, knowing how to convince people, how to influence people, how to persuade people and push them in the right direction. That's essentially all sales is, really. It's good knowing in theory how to do that, but you're not going to know how to actually do that until you practice it. Online resources are one of the best places that you can start to actually understand the fundamentals and understand essentially how it works as a whole. What the hindrances are when it comes to making money in these spaces. What people don't say in the fine print when they say, yeah, get into remote closing, get into appointment setting, is they don't really give you that fine print of, depending on who you work with, what clients you're closing for, can drastically change the difference in how much you actually earn from these. So what is really, really important is you need to be working for reputable people, reputable offers. And on top of that, you need to have the right skills as well. So you need both skills and both the best environment in order to make the most money. That is how you actually then start to hit those 5K months and upwards. Whether you are the closer or you are the appointment setter, there is no upfront investment required to get into closing. As long as you have a house, a laptop, a iPad, you can get into remote closing, you can get into appointment setting, and it's one of those skills that will just carry you for the rest of your life, in a sense that if you know how to sell, you can get anything. There's two things that make the world go around: money and sales. So if you know how to sell, you can get anything, you can sell anything, and that is a very, very profitable skill to have. Salespeople are directly the source of income for any business out there. Any business out there that you can think of, there are salespeople. From your biggest businesses that you know about that anybody can name, from your Amazons down to the small local businesses that are in your area, there is some element of sales involved there. There is somebody that is generating leads. There is somebody that is keeping the income coming in. So being a salesperson is so valuable, and it's a skill that once you learn it, once you know how to do it, and once you have that bit of experience, everybody's going to be pawning at you so that they can get a little bit of help from you. So that's why I think personally, remote closing and appointment setting are one of those very, very strong skills that, one, no one can take away from you, two, women are good at, and three, it will pay you essentially for the rest of your life. The next and final skill that I think is one of the best skills for women to learn to start making that extra money online is via digital products. You might have heard this one before because I feel like digital products are quite popular. However, digital products annoy me a little bit because, again, not everybody really goes into the ins and outs of how it works, what you sell, how to sell it, and how to find an audience to sell it to. So digital products, put it simply, is no different to your typical products that you might use or get information from, except it's just all done digitally because all of us have a phone nowadays. For example, you might want to get a cookbook. Who doesn't? Whose parents don't have a cookbook in their cupboard? Who doesn't need, for example, notebooks? Who doesn't need resources like that? Who doesn't need information? We always need information for something, whatever it is that you're doing. What you would be doing is you would be selling that item, and it's completely made online. You can make it for free, and what you need to do is package it, you sell it on a website, and then that is a digital product that you're selling. The trouble with digital products comes when people are thinking, okay, who's gonna buy it and where do I sell it? If you watching this, or you ever plan on having your own brand, your own personal brand, you're a content creator, content creators are really good at selling digital products because they already have an audience that's interested in them in general, and typically most content creators have some sort of niche. Let's say you're a content creator that makes videos about hair, you make hair videos, you might make a simple ebook on the best hair routine, the best hair products, and everything about hair basically that you've learned, and you might have the luscious, longest hair in the world, and that's why you've built your audience. So that's an easy digital product that you can sell. It doesn't have to be expensive. You made it for free. It can be a tenner and people will buy that. But you don't always have to be a content creator to sell digital products, which is what a lot of people tend to miss out when they talk about selling digital products. There are websites, for example, that are known for having digital products, and people go there looking in search already for digital products. As an example, on Amazon, do you ever go on Amazon, you see all the books that they have there? They have lots of different products on there that you can just buy. Now, the way you make it work when you're selling on these third-party platforms that don't require you to build your own audience is to really, really, really niche it down. That is a trick to it. You have to niche it down. So when I say specific, I'm talking you go on Canva and you make a logbook, and you're not just going to make a logbook for women. You're going to make a guest damage evidence logbook for Airbnb hosts in the UK. Do you see how specific that is? That is very, very, very specific. And it might seem like, who on Christ's earth is going to buy this? But because it's so niche, not only will you not have as much competition, but we have 8 billion people in this world. So you'll be surprised at how many people will need that specific thing that you make it for. Sit down and think about things that you need to write down on a day-to-day basis, either on your phone or on a piece of paper. Think about what you actually use it for, and just think, is there probably another person out there who would need to write down the same thing or track the same thing as me? Yes. Could that be a digital product? But again, there's a lot of competition, so you have to be very specific about it. So if you're on one source of income, then think a little bit harder, because most people are one emergency away from homelessness. Who knows what could happen to your one source of income today? Who knows if you lose your job, you get made redundant, if something happens that causes you to stop working and you have nothing saved up. If you have a mobile phone, a laptop or a tablet, think for a second about how much more it can benefit you in life other than just for your own sake and for your own entertainment. think for a second how much you can actually be earning doing things that you probably would normally do anyways, and spending the time you would normally take anyways. Because if little kids out here can play games and make money from it, then I see no reason why you can't take advantage of your TV time, sacrifice that a little bit, learn a skill, do a skill, and earn a little bit of money from it. But that is everything for today's video. So tell me what you think in the comments. Any questions that you have about these skills, I'll be happy to answer them. And I will catch up with you in the next one. Bye.